Hello everyone, I Kuldeep Sharma welcome you all today's session of daily news analysis where we are going to look at the important news from the Hindu newspaper as well as Indian Express. So since your exam is very near, most of the news which I have picked would be a revision of a sort because most of the news which I'm going to cover today would be it is possible that they can come in your exam because they are an update on what has happened in the previous year. Moreover, there is a very important judgment of the Supreme Court. We are going to discuss that also in very much detail. Okay, so let's start with the news, and we are going to start with the Supreme Court judgment itself. So, this is the judgment which we were waiting for the last 1 year, which is regarding the minority status of Aligarh Muslim University, and the name of the judgment is in front of you. So the name of the judgment is Aligarh Muslim University through its registrar Faizan Mustafa, or it can simply be called as AMU versus Naresh Agarwal. Okay, so this is the name of the judgment. AMU versus Naresh Agarwal, also known as AMU minority judgment. How many judges were there? So there were 7 judges in total. 7 जजेस की बेंच थी एंड 4:3 रेशियो में, विच मीन्स अगर एक जज ने उल्टा कुछ और डिसीजन दिया होता तो जजमेंट बिल्कुल रिवर्स हो जाता। 4:3 रेशियो में किया गया था। ऑल्दो इट इज काइंड ऑफ अ फाइनल जजमेंट, बट इसको फिर से एएमयू का जो माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस है उसके बेसिस पे, एएमयू को माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस या उसकी रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी पे फिर से एक और जजमेंट आएगा जिसके अंदर में पूरा फाइनलाइज हो जाएगा। बट दिस जजमेंट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस बिकॉज काइंड ऑफ इन दिस पर्टिकुलर जजमेंट जो रीजनिंग इन्होंने यूज करी है, ऑन द बेस ऑफ दिस इट कैन बी सेड दैट एएमयू इज अ माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस। बट एज यू कैन सी कि आप हेडिंग देखिए, कैन एएमयू फाइनली क्लेम अ माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस? क्या एएमयू क्या फाइनली अब क्लेम कर सकता है माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस? स्टिल देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन अराउंड इट। ओके, सो बैकग्राउंड पे आते हैं रिगार्डिंग minority institutions. Why does certain institution want to be declared as minority? Because आपके कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर में कुछ आर्टिकल्स हैं जो माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशंस को स्पेशल ट्रीटमेंट देती हैं, उनको कुछ राइट्स देती हैं। एंड द मेन आर्टिकल इज योर आर्टिकल 30 क्लॉज 1। आर्टिकल 30 क्लॉज 1 है जो बेसिकली रिलीजियस और लिंग्विस्टिक माइनॉरिटी, रिमेंबर आपके कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में माइनॉरिटी सिर्फ रिलीजन ही नहीं, लैंग्वेज के बेसिस पे भी होती हैं। तो रिलीजियस एंड लिंग्विस्टिक माइनॉरिटीज जो होती हैं उनके पास में राइट होता है टू स्टैब्लिश एंड मेंटेन एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस ऑफ देयर चॉइस। जिस टाइप की वो एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस को स्टैब्लिश करना चाहें, उनको मैनेज करना चाहें जैसे वो मैनेज करना चाहते हैं, विच मीन्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इज गोइंग टू बी इन देयर सोल हैंड्स ओनली। इसके अंदर में गवर्नमेंट इंटरफेरेंस जो होता है डेली एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के अंदर में गवर्नमेंट इंटरफेरेंस वुड नॉट बी देयर। सो दैट्स व्हाई many an institution want that they should also have minority status, and these institutions can reserve up to 50% of seats for their community and are exempt from certain reservation. सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंटली जो माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उनके अंदर में जो आपकी SC ST OBC रिजर्वेशन है वो अप्लाई नहीं होती। आई रिपीट, जो आपका SC ST OBC रिजर्वेशन एक्सेट्रा ऑल काइंड ऑफ रिजर्वेशन, women reservation, all of these reservation do not apply to these institution unless by law they are specifically applied. So simply you should know this कि SC ST OBC रिजर्वेशन जो आपका लीगली मैंडेटेड है इन टू डिफरेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन, चाहे गवर्नमेंट हो चाहे प्राइवेट हो, माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन इज एन एक्सेप्शन अंडर आर्टिकल 15। ठीक है, और यहाँ पे लिखा है दिस इंस्टीट्यूशन कैन रिजर्व अप टू 50%। देयर इज नो लिमिट टू द नंबर ऑफ सीट्स दे कैन रिजर्व फॉर दोज कम्युनिटीज, ऐसा कोई लिमिट भी नहीं है। बट इन जनरल इट इज सेड कि वो 50% तक चाहे तो कम्युनिटी के लिए रिजर्व कर सकती हैं। ठीक है, इसके बाद कुछ हिस्ट्री अगर हम देखें एएमयू की, सो अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी जो थी इट वाज established in 1875 and the original name of this particular institution was Mohammedan Anglo Oriental College. So this particular college, this particular earlier before being a university, it was a college and it was established by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, which was who was a British servant, called himself as a uh, legal servant or a loyal servant of the Britishers. एंड ही वांटेड कि जो मुस्लिम्स हैं उनके अंदर में भी जो जो वेस्टर्न एजुकेशन है उसका इंपोर्ट होना चाहिए, जो प्रेवलेंस है, उसका जो प्रेफरेंस है वेस्टर्न एजुकेशन का, वो इंक्रीज होना चाहिए आपकी मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटीज में। सो दैट्स व्हाई ही एस्टैब्लिश्ड this particular Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College so that Western education can be provided to the Muslim youth of the country. So इस चीज को इन्होंने अलीगढ़ में establish करा. Later on it became as AMU in 1920. ठीक है। सो AMU 1920 में थ्रू अ एक्ट ऑफ द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट इट बिकेम द अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी इन 1920। ओके, ओरिजिनली जो इसकी गवर्निंग बॉडी होती थी उसमें सिर्फ मुस्लिम्स वर द मेंबर्स। ओके, सो अजीत भाषा केस जो ओवरऑल क्या नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में हम वो भी पढ़ेंगे, उसके अंदर में इट वाज प्रोवाइडेड कि सिर्फ मुस्लिम्स ही गवर्निंग बॉडी में होते हैं और मुस्लिम ने ही अगर इसको स्टैब्लिश करा है, दैट्स व्हाई इट वुड बी अ माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन। बट इस आर्गुमेंट को रिजेक्ट किया गया था। ऑल्दो 1951 के अंदर में जब वी बिकेम अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रिपब्लिक, तब इंडिया ने ये जो गवर्निंग बोर्ड का स्ट्रक्चर था इसको चेंज कर दिया था और अब सिर्फ मुस्लिम्स नहीं, पीपल फ्रॉम अदर रिलीजन्स कैन आल्सो बिकम पार्ट ऑफ दिस गवर्निंग बॉडी। अब यहाँ पे हम आते हैं नेक्स्ट 1967 का अजीज बादशाह केस विच इज द केस जिसको यहाँ पे ओवर रूल किया है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने। ठीक है, तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने रूल किया था इन द अजीज बादशाह केस दैट AMU वाज नॉट अ माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन एज इट वाज एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय सेंट्रल लेजिस्लेशन, बिकॉज सेंट्रल लेजिस्लेशन के अंदर में AMU को क्रिएट किया गया था, इसलिए वो माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशंस नहीं कहलाई जाएगी। बिकॉज अगर कोई सेंट्रल लेजिस्लेशन के अंदर में आती है तो वो एक गवर्नमेंट गवर्नमेंट बॉडी बन जाएगी या गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज बन जाएगा या स्कूल बन जाएगा। सो दैट्स व्हाई वी कैन नॉट कॉल इट एज अ माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन, बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट के जो स्कूल्स एंड कॉलेजेस होते हैं उसमें रिलीजियस इंस्ट्रक्शंस कराना, रिलीजियस वर्शिप कराना या माइनॉरिटी एक स्पेसिफिक रिलीजन को प्रमोट करना वुड नॉट बी अलाउड। ठीक है, सो इसलिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने रूल किया था इस भाषा केस में दैट AMU वाज नॉट अ माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन। सो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस 67 में जो ये जजमेंट आया उसकी वजह से प्रोटेस्ट स्टार्ट हुए। तो 1981 के अंदर में AMU एक्ट जो था आपको उसको अमेंड किया गया, 1920 वाला जो एक्ट था उसको अमेंड किया गया और AMU को स्पेसिफिकली एज अ माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन रिकॉग्नाइज करा गया। सो minority status was provided to the AMU by law in 1981। 1981 में AMU एक्ट को ही अमेंड करके AMU को स्पेसिफिकली इट वाज स्टेटेड दैट इट इज अ माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन। Okay, but still there were questions regarding whether by law we can recognize an institute as a minority institution। अब यहाँ पे क्या होता है 2004 के अराउंड में आपके AMU के अंदर में 50% रिजर्वेशन प्रोवाइड किया जाता है फॉर मुस्लिम स्टूडेंट्स। 2004 में पॉलिसी आती है, 5 में जाके इम्प्लीमेंटेशन स्टार्ट होता है और ये जो पर्टिकुलर केस है 2005 में ही इसको इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट में चैलेंज किया जाता है जो इसे स्टक डाउन कर देता है। तो जो करंट जजमेंट है इसके अंदर में बोथ द स्टेटस ऑफ AMU एज वेल एज द मेन केस, जो मेन केस था वो इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट का जजमेंट है, इसको चैलेंज किया गया था। रिमेंबर दिस कि जो पर्टिकुलर जजमेंट है इसके अंदर में इस वाली चीज को चैलेंज किया गया था कि जो रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी है फॉर मुस्लिम स्टूडेंट्स ये जो स्टक डाउन करी गई ये अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है, बिकॉज 1981 में AMU को माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस मिल गया था। तो जो पेटिशनर से दे आर्ग्यूड नॉट जस्ट की रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी आपकी अलाउ होनी चाहिए, दे ऑल्सो वांटेड की डिसअलाउ होनी चाहिए, बट दे ऑल्सो वांटेड कि AMU को जो माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस 1981 में मिला है इसको भी यहाँ पे स्टक डाउन कर देना चाहिए बिकॉज इट इज नॉट प्रॉपर। अब इस पर्टिकुलर जजमेंट को रिव्यू करा, अजीज बादशाह डिसीजन को रिव्यू करने के लिए 7 जज बेंच बनानी पड़ी बिकॉज अजीज बादशाह केस जो था उसमें भी एक लार्जर बेंच थी, तो वी वांटेड अ जज बेंच ऑफ हायर स्ट्रेंथ सो दैट इट कैन बी ओवररूल्ड। तो यहाँ पे 7 जज बेंच ने डिसीजन दिया है, 4 जजेस ने मेजॉरिटी वर्डिक्ट दिया है, 3 जजेस ने डिसेंटिंग ओपिनियन दिए हैं। बोथ आर important for the future of minority status because I've told you कि although somewhat the rule has become clear how an institution minority is going to be decided, but still it is not fully clear कि क्या अब AMU को हम minority decide कर सकते हैं या नहीं कर सकते, क्या वो reservation policy allow हो गया नहीं। तो मेजॉरिटी वर्डिक्ट देते हैं। तो पहला इसके अंदर में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अजीज बादशाह को इसलिए ओवरटर्न करा बिकॉज अजीज बादशाह में कहा गया था कि अगर कोई प्री कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन है जो which has been established by a law before the constitution came into being, वो अपना माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस को रिस्टोर कर सकती है, वो उसको रिटेन कर सकती है इफ देयर प्राइमरी पर्पस इज द बेनिफिट ऑफ माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटीज। तो विच बेसिकली मीन्स इफ देयर इज एन इंस्टीट्यूशन विद द प्राइमरी मोटिव टू बेनिफिट द माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी and it was created before constitution, before the coming of the constitution, it can exist as a minority institution after coming of constitution also, it does not matter कि वो किसी लॉ के अंदर में created है। which means कि अगर किसी सेंट्रल लेजिस्लेशन या स्टेट लेजिस्लेशन के अंदर में भी मैंने कोई इंस्टीट्यूशन क्रिएट करी है, इट कैन बी एन एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन, कैन बी अ पॉलिटिकल इंस्टीट्यूशन, अगर वो माइनॉरिटी के बेनिफिट के लिए बनाई गई इंस्टीट्यूशन है तो वो अपना माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस को रख सकती है। यानी एक लीगल बॉडी का माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस होना मतलब माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन होना अब कंफर्म हो गया है। तो ये फर्स्ट वर्डिक्ट है। सेकंड, it recognized that national importance does not conflict with minority status। सो देर आर सर्टेन स्टेटस ऑल्सो बीइंग प्रोवाइडेड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट। जैसे कुछ इंस्टीट्यूशन को हम इंस्टीट्यूशंस ऑफ नेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस देते हैं, विच मीन्स दे गेट सर्टेन सम मोर फंडिंग एज कम्पेयर टू अदर इंस्टीट्यूशन, जिसमें से एएमयू इज वन। आपका जो आपका जो जवाहरलाल नेहरू यूनिवर्सिटी जेएनयू है, आपकी जो आईआईटीज हैं, आईएम्स हैं, ये सब आपके इंस्टीट्यूशंस ऑफ नेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस होते हैं, जिसपे थोड़ा ज्यादा फोकस होता है क्वालिटी के ऊपर भी, एज वेल एज फंडिंग में भी इनको थोड़ी बेनिफिट या हेल्प मिलता है। तो बिकॉज इट्स एन नेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस इंस्टीट्यूशन, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि इसको आप माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस नहीं दे सकते हो। सो अगेन जो फर्स्ट पॉइंट है, इसी को ही और ब्रॉडन करके यहाँ पे बोला गया है कि यस इट्स अ सेंट्रल एजुकेशन बॉडी, यस इट्स एन इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ नेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस, स्टिल अगर ये माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस को अपना रिटेन करना चाहें तो दे कैन रिटेन विद, देयर इज नो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट विद द माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस। एंड थर्ड इज कि ये चीज प्रूव करना कि भाई आपका प्राइमरी पर्पस माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी को बेनिफिट करना है, ये बर्डन जो है ये उस इंस्टीट्यूशन के ऊपर पे है, ये उस इंस्टीट्यूशन के ऊपर पे है। एंड इट कैन बी सीन फ्रॉम द हिस्ट्री, फ्रॉम द डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, फ्रॉम द रूल्स रेगुलेशन एक्सेट्रा, जिसके थ्रू ये एक पिक्चर बनाई जा सकती है कि वेदर इट्स प्राइमरी पर्पस इज टू बेनिफिट, इज द बेनिफिट ऑफ माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी, और इट इज जस्ट टू गेट द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ द माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन, बट they are basically a profit making institution. So to give you an example, I don't know if this is a correct example, but let's look at this example, that if you would see that there are many convent schools in India, St. Xavier's and many others. I wouldn't name many institutions, but St. Xavier's ये सब institutions हैं जहाँ पे you would see that majority of the students are not even from the minority community. You would see in any, if you go to any convent school, if there are 100 students, probably not even 20 students are going to be the Christian students, which means majority of the students are of other faith. So how can I say that this particular school is for the benefit of minority community? Okay, I can say that this would bring the minority community in a good light, that this particular community is involved in education sector, but how directly it is going to benefit the minority community, that I'm not sure of, because if only 20 or 30 students are going to be from that minority community, I do not think that its primary purpose is to serve this community only then. Okay, so I'm just giving you an example, I'm just giving you a counter argument, that how can a community or how can a group claim that they are or they are not a minority community. Okay, तो ये आपका मेजॉरिटी वर्डिक्ट है। इसके अलावा डाइसेंटिंग ओपिनियन पे आते हैं, तो जस्टिस कांत जिन्होंने डाइसेंटिंग ओपिनियन दिया है, ही रेज प्रोसीजरल कंसर्न। द कंसर्न इज कि जिस पर्टिकुलर जजमेंट में इसको एक हायर बेंच को भेजा गया था, इट वाज जस्ट अ 2 जज बेंच, और जिस जजमेंट के लिए, ओवर रूलिंग के लिए या अजीत बादशाह को रिकंसिडरेशन के लिए बोला गया है, वो पर्टिकुलर केस वाज अ 5 जजमेंट। तो अगर आपको ये चीज रेफर करनी है तो यू हैव टू टॉक टू द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया, हु इज द मास्टर ऑफ द रोस्टर। तो इट इज द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया हु वुड डिसाइड वेदर देयर इज अ रिक्वायरमेंट टू रीलुक अजीज बादशाह केस, बिकॉज अ 2 जज बेंच एज अ जुडिशियल प्रेसिडेंस। सो जुडिशियल प्रेसिडेंस का ही क्वेश्चन था यहाँ पे, मेनली तो प्रोसीजरल इशू था, ना कि सब्सटेंटिव इशू, दैट अगर एक 5 जज बेंच को ओवर रूल करना है, जजमेंट को ओवर रूल करना है, वेदर इट इज टू बी रीलुक्ड इनटू, ये चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया डिसाइड करेगा या एक हायर बेंच डिसाइड करेगी, नॉट अ 2 जज बेंच जो एक 5 जज बेंच के जजमेंट को आगे रेफर करते। बिकॉज व्हाट वुड इट लीड टू कि अगर कोई भी, जितने भी आपके 2 जज बेंच है, अगर एक सिंगल जज उनसे एग्री नहीं करता है, तो वो सारे जजमेंट्स को आगे 7 जज बेंच के लिए, 9 जज बेंच के लिए रेफर कर सकता है, विच शुड बी द डिसीजन ऑफ द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया एंड नॉट देम। इसके अलावा जो बाकी 2 जज हैं, जस्टिस दत्ता एंड शर्मा, दे क्वेश्चन वेदर एएमयू's लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग कैरेक्टर कुड नाउ बी रिवाइज्ड। तो इन्होंने बोला कि इस टाइप से ये एक रिविजनिस्ट माइंडसेट है। AMU has a history of more than 100 years, and do you think that it is better कि अब हम उसको रिवाइज करें टू माइनॉरिटी स्टेटस, बिकॉज इतने साल से हम उसको एज अ नॉन माइनॉरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन ट्रीट कर रहे हैं, उसका एक प्रॉपर लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग प्रैक्टिस स्टार्ट हो चुकी है, मैनी people now have interest, many students have interest in getting admission to AMU who are from who do not belong to that community. So should we revise the minority status, because it has now been settled that AMU is not a minority institution, and it would not be a very big deal कि अगर हम AMU का नहीं करते हैं, एंड बिकॉज ये डाइसेंटिंग ओपिनियन आया है एंड इट्स अ वेरी थिन मेजोरिटी, 4:3 के रेशियो में ही है ये जजमेंट, तो इसके फ्यूचर इंप्लीकेशन क्या है? एक रेगुलर सुप्रीम कोर्ट बेंच विल रीअसेस एएमयू's माइनॉरिटी कैरेक्टर। तो अब एक रेगुलर सुप्रीम कोर्ट बेंच, व्हिच मींस अ यूजुअल बेंच वुड बी क्रिएटेड, जो अगेन इस पर्टिकुलर माइनॉरिटी कैरेक्टर, एएमयू का माइनॉरिटी कैरेक्टर, वेदर एएमयू इज अ माइनॉरिटी और नॉट, इसको जज करेगी ऑन the basis of criteria set down by the majority, which means जो हमने ये majority verdict में ये criteria पढ़े हैं, ये अब rules बन चुके हैं. These are rules, rule of law. These would be the criteria on the basis of which 1, 2, 3. These would be the criteria on the basis of which whether institution is a minority or not would be now decided. Okay, and AMU का भी status जो है अब एक अलग से एक और केस के अंदर में प्रॉपर इसको डिसाइड किया जाएगा. So what decision is impact is going to be there. So AMU की autonomy और right to reserve seats अलावा इसके अलावा माइनॉरिटी राइट्स का ब्रॉडर इन्फ्लुएंस क्या होता है, उन सब के बारे में बात भी करी जाएगी जजमेंट के अंदर में. Okay, so this is the future implication. So we still have to wait a little longer regarding clarity on AMU minority character, but these three rule of laws or these set criteria becomes important for us. ओके, सो मे बी क्लैट का पेपर शायद अब तक पब्लिश हो गया हो, बट बाकी जो इंस्टीट्यूशन, बाकी जो आपके लॉ एंट्रेंस एग्जाम है लाइक एलेट और अदर लॉ एंट्रेंस, वहां के लिए जजमेंट आपके लिए अभी भी इंपॉर्टेंट होगा एंड ऑब्वियसली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर पीपल और गोइंग टू क्लिप नेक्स्ट गिव क्लैट एंड अदर एग्जाम्स नेक्स्ट ईयर, सो इट इज गोइंग टू बी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर दोस ऑल्सो. Okay, so अब मूव करते हैं to the basic news. So I said कि most of the topics which I have chosen for today's class are going to be kind of a revision. For example, the news is 10 armed militants killed by CRPF in Manipur. So this is front page news of the Hindu newspaper, and this brings back Manipur violence into news again. So this would be a revision. I'm sure you are aware that there are two communities involved here. One is Methi, which are primarily Hindus, and the other is your Kuki-Zomi, which is a tribal community. So they have different religions. Many of them might be Christian also, but their belief, the faith system of tribals can be very different. So Manipur violence has been going on for now more than a year now. Or Manipur mein there are 16 districts. In Manipur, most of the districts are populated by the Methi community, because Methi जो community है, they form around 52 to 53% population of Manipur, and they'll only occupy 10% of the geographical area, because Manipur is a hill state. हिल स्टेट है तो मेजोरिटी ऑफ द एरिया हिली एरिया है, एंड वहां पे हिली एरियाज में आपके ट्राइबल्स रहते हैं. मेथीज आर मेनली लोकेटेड इन द वैली ऑफ इम्फाल. कैपिटल ऑफ मणिपुर इज इम्फाल, तो वैली ऑफ इम्फाल के अंदर में मेजरली आपको मेथी कम्युनिटी मिलेगी, बट दे आर वेरी पॉलिटिकली पावरफुल, दे आर सोशल एजुकेशनली फॉरवर्ड ऑल्सो, एंड इट कैन बी सीन फ्रॉम द फैक्ट दैट 40 out of 60 MLAs in the Legislative Assembly of Manipur are actually Methi, belong to the Methi community. So Methis are 52%. On the other hand, Kuki-Zomi are also not a very small tribe. Kukis forms around 25% of the population. The third tribe, which has a very good population, is the Naga tribe, are having a population of 15%. Okay, one thing which I would like to add is not directly related, but because Manipur is a border state, it borders your Myanmar, etc. This becomes a gateway to of drugs from the Golden Triangle. Okay, so it becomes a gateway to drugs from the Golden Triangle. So three countries which form Golden Triangle are Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand. Many a times even Vietnam is considered to be part of this, but majorly if a question comes up which of the following are part of Golden Triangle, so Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, these are going to be the Golden Triangle. So what you have to do in the comment box, you have to tell me what is the Golden Crescent, which countries form the Golden Crescent, which is again a area ill famous for drug trade. Okay, one infamous Golden Triangle is for drug trade, and the other is your Golden Crescent. So you can name the countries which create the Golden Crescent. Okay, you can mention it in the comment box. So your Manipur violence, the background is that there was a High Court judgment where the High Court judge asked the Manipur government and the central government to look into the demand of scheduled tribes, demand of the Methi community for a scheduled tribe status. Because of this, Kuki-Zomi student group started to protest, because they felt that if the ST status is given to the Methi community also, which is the majority population of the Manipur state, they would be eligible to buy lands in the hills district also. You should know this, that only scheduled tribes can easily buy land in a scheduled tribe area or in the or from the scheduled tribes. But once Metis also become a scheduled tribe, once Methi also gets scheduled tribe status, they would also be able to buy land in those particular regions. Okay, so this is a short explanation, or I would say a revision of your Methi and your Kokizomi Manipur violence case. Okay, next पे move करते हैं. Again, a very important update. UN raises alarms as climate talks kick off in Azerbaijan. So COP29 जो है आपका, it has begun in Baku, Azerbaijan. So this is a very important conference. Like all the conferences related to your United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is important. COP29, just like all the COP, is also important. This is also known, this particular COP is important for finance, so that's why it is also called as finance COP, because the main agenda of this COP29, the main thing which they want to do is that they want that there should be an increase in financing for climate project. So they want an increase in financing cost, or the finance increase in financing by the developed countries for the developing and the least developed countries, so they can fight climate change, etc. So who is the president of COP29? So COP29 has a president also, all COPs does, and it is Mukhtar Babayev. So the photograph is of that person only, Mukhtar Babayev, who is one of the minister of environment, etc., in the country of Azerbaijan. So COP29 president is Mukhtar Babayev, and there are certain reports also. WMO, World Meteorological Organization, has reported that as of now 2023 is the hottest year on record, and next year 2024 is going to be the hottest year on record, because it's going to break the record of 2023. Moreover, it has declared that 2015 to 2024 is the hottest decade on record. So the time period of 2015 to 2024 is going to be the hottest decade on record. It has already been reported that as per WMO, we have already crossed 1.3 degrees Celsius, and we are very near to one of the primary goals of the Paris Agreement, which was to limit the temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius and try to limit it to not increase it in any case to 2 degrees Celsius uh, above the pre-industrial levels. But we are losing this race very fast. So main agenda in the COP29 is to increase the finance, and we also have a new goal known as NCQG, which stands for New Collaborative Goal on Climate Finance. So that is a full form of NCQG. Uh, and what exactly it is? So in 2009, we did a Copenhagen Accord. So that COP was hosted by Denmark. So in 2009, Copenhagen Accord was signed, and therein the developed countries promised 100 billion funding every year per year to developing countries to fight climate change, to fight climate change, as well as to improve their climate resilience also. So this was promised. So this particular amount was never given in a particular year also, and still we are facing difficulties in getting this much money, not just India but all the developing countries. But the ambitious goal of the next COP29 is to increase even this amount to more than whatever the amount would be, but it should be a higher amount. We are not as of now clear what amount they are going to decide on, but now the target is to increase even this amount, and this is known as NCQG. Okay, so this is a short explanation for the COP29. Obviously, COP is important. COP1, COP3, COP7, COP9. इसके अलावा COP आपका 15, not 15, COP21 of 2015 and COP26 Glasgow. Those are more important, and COP28, 29, 30, where they took place, becomes important for you all. Okay, so ये सब आपको रिवाइज करने हैं. Okay, next पे आते हैं trial reforms promoting mediation among new chief justice priorities. So recently, yesterday only, your Justice Sanjeev Khanna became the 51st CJI of India. He has superseded the previous Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, who was the 50th Chief Justice of India. So 51st Chief Justice of India बने हैं Sanjeev Khanna. Interestingly, Sanjeev Khanna is the nephew of H.R. Khanna, who was also a Supreme Court judge around 48 years ago. So about 50 years ago, HR Khanna was supposed to become the next Chief Justice of India, but Indira Gandhi did not made him the Chief Justice of India because of one a very important case in which he gave the dissenting opinion, and which later many of the commentators of legal uh, many commentators of constitutional law believes that this is the judgment or this dissenting opinion later on helped the Supreme Court to overturn these wrong judgments of the Supreme Court, basically upholding the right of the citizens of India to liberty, life and liberty even during emergency. So the judgment I'm talking about is the ADM Jabalpur case, ADM Jabalpur versus Shivkant Shukla, and in this particular case, HR Khanna, which was one of the judges on this particular bench, give a dissenting opinion. Others did not give it, and he said that even during emergency, the person's right to life and personal liberty is going to remain intact, and they have the right to approach the Supreme Court and High Court for breach of life and personal liberty, for their breach of fundamental rights. Okay, and because of this particular judgment, HR Khanna was superseded. He was not allowed to be made the next CJ, although by seniority rule he should have been the next CJ, but he was superseded by another Supreme Court judge, a junior of his. It was MH Baig. MH Baig. However, this was not the first instance when someone was superseded. This was the second instance. The first instance was also just 3-4 years ago, and that was case of Justice A.N. Ray, who was made the next Supreme Court judge, Supreme Court Chief of India, and then it was MH Baig. Okay, so we have two such cases when seniority rule was broken. One was when A.N. Ray was made the Chief Justice of India, and the other was when MH Baig was made the Chief Justice of India. So seniority rule has been broken twice. Okay, so now he is going to be the next Chief Justice of India. Okay, so we are going to only do this much from this particular news. Let's move to the next one. Abdullah is written on twin capital system holds meeting of minister officials in Jammu. So in Jammu and Kashmir, in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, there was a practice that there were two capitals. One was your summer capital, one was your winter capital. So your summer capital was Srinagar and your winter capital was Jammu. And this was a practice of older than more than 100 years ago, and this was a practice started by Dogra King Gulab Singh. So Dogra King Gulab Singh started to have this practice of having two capitals, one summer capital and winter capital. So in winters, the capital of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, or the kingdom of Jammu and Kashmir, used to move to Jammu as a winter capital, and in the summers it used to again shift to Srinagar only. So Dogra King Gulab Singh started this practice in the year 1846 after Treaty of Amritsar was signed, and and this particular practice was suspended by the Lieutenant Governor in the year 2020. Lieutenant Governor administration suspended this particular practice in 2020, and now there is a plan to again start this particular practice. Okay, this particular practice is also known as Darbar Move. Okay, so now that's it from this news. Let's move to the next news. For farmers, daily pursuit of scarce DAP in sowing season. So DAP is one of the fertilizer which is extensively used by the fertilizer which is being used by the by farmers in India. So you must be aware that the three main fertilizers which are used by farmers are for NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and your potassium. For nitrogen, we basically use urea. For phosphorus, we basically use DAP, and the full form of DAP is diammonium phosphate. And for K, or for potassium, we use muriate of potash. So these are the three main sources of NPK, your nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And the ideal ratio is 4:2:1. This is the ideal ratio for NPK, 4:2:1. And but because there is oversupply of certain certain fertilizers, and deficiency of other such fertilizers, the ratio is favored for urea as compared to others. So this is the actual usage of NPK fertilizers, because the availability is biased towards urea and DAP, but still as of now DAP is also in short supply. Okay, so this is the context of this news. We are not concerned with the details of this particular news. Moving on to the next news, again a one-liner: try chief to chair South Asia Telecom Regulators Council. So South Asia Telecom Regulators Council is a council of the South Asian nation. Obviously, it is being hosted in New Delhi. And it is being chaired by the chairman of SATRC is your TRI chairman, and the name of the person is Anil Kumar Lahoti. Anil Kumar Lahoti is the current TRI chairman. So the name can be asked. And what is TRI? TRI stands for Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, which is the main telecom regulator of India. So it is the telecom regulator of India. Okay. So this is your TRI chief. Moving on to the next news, women naval officers circumnavigating globe reach Australia in their first stop. Okay, so the particular task which they are doing right now is known as Navika Sagar Parikrama. Navika Sagar Parikrama second, which means we have done it earlier also. There was a Navika Sagar Parikrama first also, which was undertaken by six women, undertaken by six women, and it was also successful by these six women. They were able to circumnavigate globe on the same sailing vessel, INSV, Indian Naval Sailing Vessel Tarini. So this is the second expedition on this particular sailing vessel, INSV Tarini, and the two naval officers who are part of this particular NSP second is Dilna K and Rupa A. So this is the name of two women Navy officials who are undertaking this particular Navika Sagar Parikrama second on board the INSV Tarini, and this is only an update. This is only an update regarding where they are right now. Okay, so this is again another update. So because this was a news which was there already in news a month back. So this is a 39-day voyage at sea. They have already done 40 days at sea. So this was in news around 40-50 days ago. So 2 months ago. So this can obviously come in your exam also. Moving on to the next news, ending discrimination in prison. So abhi recently 2024 mein there was a judgment. The judgment was Sukanya Shanta versus Union of India. So that is the name of the judgment, Sukanya Shanta versus Union of India. And in this particular judgment, we have already discussed this earlier also in news analysis. In this particular judgment, the Supreme Court has held that there should not be any discrimination, no discrimination in prison. And specifically in this particular case, there was discrimination on the basis of caste hierarchy. So as per Supreme Court, there should be no discrimination in prisons. Okay, and the ground on which the Supreme Court held the provisions of jail manuals as unconstitutional. So jail manuals provisions were held to be unconstitutional because they violated Article 14 and 15. So you should know this, that under Article 14 and 15 you have your fundamental rights. In Article 14 you have the right to equality, which means every person should be treated equally in front of law and there should be equal protection of law. And under Article 15 there is prohibition on discrimination on grounds of race, religion, caste, sex, place of birth. So the Supreme Court said that uh, segregating prisoners on the basis of their caste, segregating jobs on the basis of caste, and giving only menial tasks like cleaning and sweeping to people of lower caste, and keeping different profession or keeping different occupation for other caste group is a discriminatory practice, and it is prohibited by Article 14 and 15. So this is what the Supreme Court has stated. So these two authors have actually discussed the different case laws, like Shankar Shukla versus Delhi Administration, another very important case where there was a discrimination, there was a class system in the prison, and under trials prisoners were classified as better class and ordinary. So better class were basically people from higher strata of the society. So those undertribes were provided with different facilities, and the ordinary undertribes were provided with different facilities, etc. Same another case which is being talked about here is Bombay High Court's Inacue Manuel Miranda state, and here it was a segregation into class 1 person and class 2 persons. Again, this was also held to be a discriminatory practice. So here they have discussed many cases of the Supreme Court wherein the same thing has been said again and again, that there should not be any discrimination between prisoners of different classes, okay, and on the basis of caste also. So this is an important update with regard to jail manuals, etc. Okay, so if you still have newspaper with you, you can read this particular editorial which has come in the Hindu today. Okay. Okay, next पे आते हैं. So now let's look at some news from the Indian Express also. So the first news is no religion encourages activity that creates pollution, says Supreme Court. So Supreme Court is currently hearing a case, and Supreme Court is actually deliberating that there should be a perpetual ban. So Supreme Court has not held it. Supreme Court is discussing. मैं ये लिख रहा इसलिए हूँ because many a times students write down these points without listening it properly, and they say कि sir, you said that Supreme Court has perpetually banned it. Supreme Court is discussing perpetual ban on firecrackers in your Delhi and in your national capital region. So while this discussion is going on, the Supreme Court bench has stated this. So again, it's only a statement that they believe that no religion encourages activity that creates pollution, which means no one can come to a court and claim that they have the fundamental right to burst firecrackers on Diwali, because it is not essential for celebrating Diwali, or it is not essential for practicing your religion. And when the Delhi High Court's Delhi government argued that they are going to discuss this ban with all the majority stakeholders, they asked that if anyone feels like that they have the right to play with the health of the citizens of India, then they can come to the court directly, because the court here has stated that under Article 21 all the citizens have right to pollution free air. So we already know this, and this has been held earlier also, that all the citizens of India, and not the citizens, people who are residing in India, so they can be a citizen or a non-citizen, they have the fundamental right to have a pollution free atmosphere. And when you burst firecrackers on Diwali, specifically in Delhi or nearby areas, which, and this maybe because of the weather and the climate of Delhi during this particular time, because there is no wind, it is not good for the health of the people of Delhi that we burst or we do so much pollution during Diwali. So under Article 21, because citizens have a fundamental right to pollution free atmosphere, they have the right, or the government has a duty to impose such kind of bans on for bursting of firecrackers, not just even on Diwali, but even on other occasions also. Okay, so this is an update regarding that particular judgment. So again, this is something which has been in news all around the year, so this can be still be important for you. Finally, the last news for today, pushed by El Nino, 2024 set to become warmest year. So as of now, let's say if the question comes up in your exam this year, unless it is specifically pointing you towards 2024, you should know that as per the previous report, 2023 is the warmest year on record, because WMO has not officially said to it to be 2024 to be the warmest year. It is being set to become, it is still to become the warmest year, because this would only be declared once your December 31st process, and we are in the year 2025. But as per WMO, warmest year is 2024. And this particular report is shocking, because it says that in the months of January to September 2024, global mean surface air temperature was 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial average. So whatever should have been the mean surface air temperature, what has been the average mean surface air temperature, the air temperature in the months of January to September of this year has been more than 1.54 degrees Celsius, and you can connect it with your Paris Agreement ideal goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is now which probably would be completely crossed in a year or two. So for an average of the whole year, it is probably going to be above 1.5 degrees Celsius for 2024. Okay, and as per WMO, because this year 2024 was an year of El Nino, probably this is going to be the reason, El Nino is going to be the reason for 2024 to be the warmest year on record. Okay, so again, I am sure all of this is only a revision for you because I have only picked out on news which are important for this year's CLAT also. Okay, so student, with this we are done for today's news analysis. Thank you and have a very nice day.